extent. Some of them have kind of diminished because of the political instabilities across the continent. So it's amazing that our generation is almost thinking that these opportunities are just springing out. No, if you look back, they've actually been there before. The second thing I want to pick up on when you talk about philanthropy. So in North America and in Europe, people have done an amazing job with philanthropy in terms of how they've managed to make it come back to benefit society. Africa and Asia is zero on philanthropy right now as we speak. The problem with Africa, I would tell you, is it's not with people who have money not wanting to give back, and this is my experience. The problem has been we haven't created vehicles that make sense to allow people to facilitate this process. And I've been working fundraising for the last 3 years at a high level at McMaster. That's what I did, that's my job. I've come to realize that even here, if you don't create vehicles that make sense to facilitate this process for people, rich people will go about doing what they're supposed to do. They work hard for their money, let's be honest, and if you don't give them an opportunity to show them how some of this, basically at no cost to them at times, if you do it smartly, it can help to benefit the community. Another thing I'll point out is us. We seem to have very little or no trust in our institutions. Now, I know you can name the numerous problems there are with corruption and everything. I agree. Show me one that doesn't have corruption. We will willingly invest in corrupt institutions in Canada and the United States and Europe. We do that all the time. Corruption here is at a level where we're joking in Africa when we talk about corruption. Nobody wants to say that. People, in fact, there's a report that just came out that in Europe, in the European bloc, I don't know, I think it was 10 out of 15 countries, the level that corruption has reached is in a public institution is so severe that they are considering developing some kind of audit system across the actual union. Now, if you tell me the difference is if they have institutions here that can manage to deal with it, I would say yes, but how many years does it take sometime before they even find out one? Let's look at the Senate scandal in Canada that we're talking about right now. Let's look at Enron. I mean, I can go on and name them to you. We tend to downplay and politicize it and make it look like it's not corruption. It's massive corruption. So if you tell me you're not going to put faith into your institutions because you're complaining, oh, they're corrupt, even if I send them, let me tell you this today. I would rather send $1,000 to Africa or to Liberia to do something, and $800 go into someone's pocket and $200 gets spent properly, and I go after that person with everything I have to do to make sure to correct what went wrong, even though I lost money in the process, then sit here and complain that, oh, because of all the corruption, because of all this, I'm not going to. It's a very poor excuse. If we are not going to be the first to put our trust in the very little institutions that we have, because in some places we don't have any, no one else is going to trust it. And when we find the ills in those institutions, let's not get hopeless and say, oh, there's really nothing I can do. That's not true. You can do something about it. Let's get to the place of saying, how will we invite people to go and invest in Africa when we are scared to go there? Because we say it's too corrupt for us to actually go there. So I would say, when it comes to institutions, creating institutions also lastly, let's be careful. Because people are going to the continent and duplicating these institutions and systems and structures that are very senseless when you see them in action. And people say we don't have the capacity in Africa. That is not true. It depends on how you're defining education when you go to Africa. It depends on how you define it. I know people in Africa that can give you the best for your money, depending on what platform you give them to work with. Unfortunately, we've imposed this dominant Eurocentric platform and expect people to function in it. It doesn't work. We have to find a way to meet them where they are. The reason why the Industrial Revolution flourished is because people were met where they were and then improved over time to get to where they got. So when we are looking for standards here, and we say people are here only because we define it in a certain way, I'll give you my example of what I'm doing with the project I'm doing in Liberia right now. We started this project, it's a $2 million project. So far, we've gotten a value of close to $500,000 without spending a dime. The project we're doing. We got an architecture firm to do a facility design concept, working with a local architecture firm in Liberia for up to $35,000 worth of job for free. Donated. We went to Liberia, we got the land, we got the building permits, we got every single thing we needed to do for free. The reason I'm giving you this as an example, I spoke with the manager of a Goldman Sachs endowment, sorry for Goldman Sachs, in Liberia. This guy's managing a $10 million endowment there. And I was speaking with him in his office and told him what I was there to do. He told me if you have the right money, it will take you 9 months to a year. If you don't have the right amount of money, it will take you about 2 years, right? I came back to him in 2 weeks with the building permit, the land deed signed by the president, and every single thing I was there for in 2 weeks without spending a dime. In fact, in cases, government institutions facilitated the process to help it happen without me spending a dime. So if we don't be the leaders, if we don't rise up and be the leaders because we understand the nuances, we can question things, and there is a way we can approach it that people who are not from there will not approach it, and we have the legitimacy to do it. And always complain about corruption and everything. Social entrepreneurship will only work in Africa when we start to show that we trust this institution. There may be problems, yes, there are challenges, yes, where else there isn't challenges? Show me. The UN is the most corrupt institution in the world, and we all still support it, unfortunately. So if we're going to do it, let's be fair to ourselves. Let's take risk with ourselves. Sometimes it may not pay off, sometimes it will pay off, but like he said, over time, we'll find ways of dealing with these challenges.